We've made it to chapter 26, the urinary system. Now, for a lot of you, when you look at the organs in the urinary system, you're thinking, yes, I've got this, right? Most of us are really familiar with the organs. The kidney producing urine that then travels through the ureter into the urinary bladder and then leaves the body through the urethra. And you're thinking, okay, I got this. And you do. But I think you'll be surprised at how complex the kidney actually is. It's a pretty fantastic organ. It's become one of my favorite. But before we dive into this, let's think about what are the functions of the urinary system. I have a feeling if I asked you, what's the function of the urinary system? That most of you would say something like eliminating wastes. And this is true, right? One of the functions here is to rid the body of certain wastes. We do that through through excretion, moving that waste from the blood to the urine. So excretion, blood to the urine, right? So we're getting it out of the body, out of the blood. We're going to put it in the urine. And then elimination, where that actually exits the body, right, through the urine. So that is true, right? This organ is super important in helping us get rid of wastes from the body fluids. Now, the other big function that it has, and we often overlook, is that it plays this major role in regulating homeostasis of fluid and electrolyte balance. Right, of fluid and electrolyte balance. There's a whole chapter. Our next chapter, 27, is on fluid electrolyte balance. So we're really going to hammer this message home. But let's think about this. So in the kidney, this idea of regulating homeostasis of fluid and electrolytes, this is going to be super important in maintaining blood volume and therefore blood pressure. I'll make these like little sub-points here. Blood volume and therefore blood pressure regulation, right? The kidney determines the blood volume. If it's too much, you pee. If it's not enough, you don't pee, right? So we're maintaining that blood volume here at the kidney. We also have a couple sneaky guys that you might remember. EPO, erythropoietin, helps us produce red blood cells, erythrocytes, absolutely. So that's going to be important in blood volume. And then the kidney also produces renin. So renin, angiotensin aldosterone system, or RAS, is coming back at you in this chapter, right? And so this is super important, right? We also maintain electrolytes, right? So the kidney is going to decide which ions get reabsorbed into the blood and which are excreted into the urine. And so we're going to work to maintain, to hold on to important ions, things like sodium, chloride, potassium, and a bunch of others. Those are probably the major ones here, right? So if you think about your electrolytes, sodium, chloride, potassium. One of those others, I would say, is calcium, right? Remember, blood calcium levels, super important. Too high or too low is problematic, and so the kidney regulates that. And the kidney also produces calcitriol, a form of vitamin D. Remember this? All right, this form of vitamin D that's going to help us absorb calcium through the digestive tract or reabsorb calcium here at the kidney. So these electrolytes end up being super important. We also I don't really want to make it a whole nother number. You can make each of these a number if you want. I'll keep it under this idea of regulation of homeostasis. The kidney helps to regulate blood pH, right? And it does this by deciding whether to reabsorb or excrete hydrogen, and whether to reabsorb or excrete bicarbonate. If you pictured that equation coming back, you're absolutely correct. We're going to look, it's the same equation that we saw in the respiratory system and the digestive system. You've got it by now. The kidney does the same reaction, taking carbon dioxide and water, making carbonic acid, and then it can dissociate. And again, to regulate blood pH, we can decide which way those ions are going, right? So last but not least, we can help the liver detoxify, right? So poisons, drugs, the kidney can help break those things down and eliminate them. And in a pinch, if you were using a lot of protein as a fuel source, typically we would think of this happening during starvation. The liver is doing a ton of deamination, remember, removing that amine group, making ammonia. And if we're doing a lot of that, the kidney will assist in deamination as well. So it helps the liver detoxify and also helps the liver do deamination. Right? Deamination, the removal of that amine group from an amino acid. So, our first thought is to say the kidney gets rid of wastes. And now we have a whole list of things that the kidney actually does. It absolutely gets rid of those waste products, at the same time really helping make sure we hold on to some valuable materials as well. And then also this idea of maintaining blood volume and blood pressure is going to prove super important. Lots of important functions here in the urinary system.